Love lives here.
So, hi everybody. All right. So I'm making another good choice today. We're going to do something a little bit different this morning. In that, in addition to everything else we've already done differently today, we're going to go straight to tables. And I'm going to share a little bit of information with you after tables. But I want to go straight to tables this morning and change it up a little bit. And so, Jossie, if you could pull up the questions for us. And so if you find yourself at a table with just one or two people, I invite you to join a table that has more than just one or two people. That way you can participate in the discussion, because this discussion is then going to lead us into where we're headed for this morning. So our table conversations include, do you believe that you are always at choice? Why or why not? And these are on your table too. There's little slips of paper, so don't freak out, and they'll be up here on the screen the whole time. Why is it important to make conscious choices? And what does it mean to be accountable? Okay? So, do you believe that you are always at choice? Why or why not? Why is it important to make conscious choices? And what does it mean to be accountable? So, we are working with core concept number 5, and core concept number 5 is talking about choice, and it's talking about free will and freedom. And with freedom comes accountability. So when we are talking about freedom and free will, we as human beings, if we are part of the one mind, the one consciousness, the one power, the one presence, the one infinite, that it lives, moves, breathes, and has its being in, through, and as each one of us, that then we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. Therefore, we have been endowed with total and complete freedom, meaning that we have free will. If we did not have free will, we would actually not be free. We would be automatons, as according to Ernest Holmes, right? If there wasn't something to choose from, in order to be able to choose, in order to have free will, we have to be able to choose. So we have to be able to choose from a couple, at least two options. Otherwise, we're not really free. We don't actually have free will. So we have the ability to think, say, do, behave as we wish. We have the freedom to express our life as we wish. And that same freedom that we have to do, think, say, right, and be as we wish, makes it possible to use this freedom in a way that actually restricts us. Because if we didn't have the ability to choose a different way, or to use it in a different way, right, then we wouldn't be at choice. So, having choice means that we also then have accountability or responsibility. Because, as you were saying, if there is the law of cause and effect, which we know that there's one cause and then that creates an effect. We've talked about the creative process, right? That when we plant an idea into the creative medium, then what happens, or what we receive then, is the outcome of that which we have planted into the creative medium, right? That is the outcome. So we are, in fact, as you said, always at choice. Yes, we are, in fact, always at choice. And even not making a choice is actually making a choice, right? We're actually making a choice, not by making a choice, or by not making a choice. And therefore, we have to accept accountability or responsibility for every choice that we make, because every choice has a consequence. It's not about good choices necessarily, or bad choices, though I did label this make good choices, because I remember a certain mother in this room telling their certain daughter, who's also in this room, make good choices. So, love you both. See, and yeah, right? Be careful or you will end up in my sermon. So there you are. So, it is about making choices and making conscious choices and using the mind, or mind and energy are always going to manifest through us to the degree of our level of understanding of the way life works, the way law works, and the choices that we make. So, in other words, we reap what we sow, do we not? Yeah. So, nothing opposes our good except the misuse of law. Let me say that again. Nothing opposes our good except the misuse of the law, the misuse of the misuse of choice, the misuse of consciousness, or the misuse of cause and effect. So, we are not punished for our mistakes. So, there is no sin, there's only a mistake. Got that? No sin, just a mistake. And we are not punished for our mistakes. But we experience, rather than punishment, we experience consequences. So if we make a mistake, there is a consequence. Conversely, if we do something good, or we do something that's in our favor, we also experience a consequence, right? Whatever action there is has a consequence. So, the good has its own reward, right? And the mistake has its own consequence, right? But what I want to make clear here, my beloveds, is that because we live with this idea, and we live in this idea of law, of cause and effect, right? Of making mistakes and then experiencing the consequences of those mistakes, and making good choices and experiencing the consequences or the benefits or the rewards of those choices, that what we're not doing is we're not what's called victim blaming. We're not going, oh, you got a cold. What's in your consciousness? What did you do to manifest that, Jabel? Right. This is very true, right? But we're not doing that because, life happens. Life is life, and life is forever expressing, and life is spirit, right? Forever and ever expressing. So life is also spirit as a virus. Life is also a bacteria, right? Life is also expressing as a cold, right? So it's not necessarily that Jabel did anything wrong and made a mistake, and now she's suffering the consequences of her mistake by having a cold. She simply has a cold, right? So it's not about blaming your consciousness for physical manifestations. Now, is it possible that we didn't get enough sleep, or we're not eating healthy, or we're not doing other things? Yes, that's possible. Is it possible that we are aiding and abetting and contributing factors of something? Yes, it's possible. But it is not, I thought a wrong thought, and now I'm lying in the hospital. Right? I thought a single wrong thought, and now I'm being evicted from my apartment. It's nothing like that. Okay? It's the propensity of thinking. It is the continuity of thinking. It is the continuity not only of thinking, but of belief. Right? And so there is the accountability, but once we understand that we have the ability to co-create, that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm, that we have the ability to co-create, that we have the ability to change what we think, what we say, what we do, what we believe, then we become empowered because we have the accountability and we have the responsibility to do something different. And responsibility meaning not only are we responsible, we are capable of response. We have the ability to respond in a different way. So many of our choices that we've been making throughout our lives have a tendency to be unconscious choices. They tend to be unconscious. They tend to be, as Susie was saying to the group online, they tend to be choices that we made when we were youngish, younger than we are now, youngish, right, or young, then we made certain choices around events that occurred, what we made them believe about ourselves, what we made them believe about life, and then we started making choices based on that. And with those choices, that became the embedded coding, if you will. It became the subconscious mind that is running life even now. So, for example, you're on the playground. You're on the playground, and Bobby pushes you. You're like 5 or 6 years old, and Bobby pushes you. And naturally, you push back. You don't push me. I'm going to push you back. But Miss Bacall, who is already an overworked teacher, who has been assigned recess duty and is having to do recess duty against her will because Miss Lindsay decided to go out last night and party with her boyfriend and had a hangover, and so she didn't show up to work today, so now Miss Bacall has to be out on the playground watching your snotty noses. And she doesn't see Bobby, she sees you. And she loses her everything. Fill in the blank. Right? She just loses it. And here you are, it's like, he pushed me first. I don't care. Right? Right? And somehow, your little self goes, wow, this is so unfair. Bobby pushed me first, and now Miss Bacall is losing her crap all over me, and it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not right, it's not fair. And you're 5 years old or 6 years old, right? And now you're however old you are, life still isn't fair. It's unfair, right? And perhaps what you made this mean for you in all of this, there's different ways, with all the other evidence that you see and all the other things that are happening in your life as a young person, then you've interpreted this to mean, different possibilities. One possibility is life is unfair. So I'm the victim here, and I don't like it, so I'm going to manipulate people to feel that I'm a victim. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get their sympathy, and they're just going to love me, and they're just going to pay attention to me, and they're going to listen to me, and I'm just going to tell everybody my sad sob story about how Bobby pushed me, except it's no longer Bobby pushing me. It's that I got fired from my job, or, my girlfriend broke up with me, or blah, 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 blah. Right? Right? That's one possibility of many. Another possibility is you got pushed, and that was unfair. And you know what? I don't think anybody should ever be pushed again. So I am going to be the hero, and I am going to make sure that nobody experiences anything unfair ever again. I'm going to take that on. I'm going to be the hero. I am going to fight the injustices of the world, and I am looking for a fight. Right? I'm out there. Whoa. Right? Another possibility could be, you know what? Life is unfair. You know what? Fine. I'm going to get mine first. I'm going to make sure that nobody denies me what I'm owed, what they can give me, what should be mine. I am no way. And I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure. Now, all three of these things came from a perception of something was unfair, didn't it? But it's three different ways of behaving based on other factors in our lives, right, that has now done this, right? That has now brought us to the unfair. But what is consistent with the unfair throughout all of this is that it's self-confirming. Because now I'm looking out there, and life is terrible, and I need sympathy, and so every time I look out there and I see what is it confirming, it's confirming that life is terrible, it's unfair, and I, poor little me, am the victim in all of it, right? Or you're looking out there going, okay, where's the next fight? Come on, bring it, right? You're looking for that injustice. You're going to find that injustice, and you're going to fight like mad, right? Or you're looking out there like, yeah, they're all withholding from me, so I'm going to make sure I take it. I'm going to make sure I get mine, right? And here we are as adults, living out our 5-year-old fantasies, right? Until we wake up and we pay attention and we tend to our garden, like what we were talking about with Sanja, about tending to the garden and rooting this out and understanding that, wait a minute, I've been making unconscious choices and getting a lot of bias or confirmation bias, right, of these unconscious choices that my 5-year-old believed, me as a 5-year-old believed, and I've been living this pattern all throughout, and you know what? I've actually really been pretty miserable. So now I have the opportunity, because I'm now conscious, I'm now awake and aware that, oh, my unconscious 5-year-old has been running the show. So now that I'm conscious and I'm awake, I have the ability to choose something different. I now have the ability to respond rather than react. I have ability to take responsibility, to respond to the situation, to make different changes, to change the way I'm thinking, change the way I'm speaking, change what I'm believing, change what I'm feeling, change the way I'm experiencing something. And when we change something, what are we doing? We're setting a new cause into action. And when we set a new cause into action, what then is happening? We get a new effect, right? Cause and effect. We're setting something new, so we get a new consequence of what we're doing. Yes? Make sense? All right. So, your homework for this afternoon or this week is to identify an area in your life where you are experiencing challenges around making choices. So, maybe it's the unfair bit. Who knows? But identify an area where you're challenged with making choices. Maybe you're challenged to save, put something away for savings, or challenged with food choices or what have you. Then look at what behavior reinforces this challenge. Well, eating an entire box of Girl Scout cookies is going to reinforce that challenge that I have if I really want to lose weight, right? Then what is one thing you can do consciously that's different? Well, I could bring the Girl Scout cookies here and share them with everybody else. I said I could. Doesn't say I'm going to. I just said I could. It's a possibility, right? Then, what belief do I have, or what belief do you have about making choices? The ability to make choices. I think all of you kind of described that, we're always at choice, so that's a good thing. And then what beliefs empower you to choose differently? If this one belief has been stuck, right? Unfair is keeping you stuck. The unfair belief is stuck. What is the empowering belief that would allow something different to happen? Rather than unfair, what could be an empowering belief? Right? And then take action. Look for one small thing, because you're not trying to move a mountain, right? It's just, you don't turn a freighter or an oil tanker like a speedboat. It's just not a quick, right? You have to slowly move it, right? So one small action that you can take that will move you in the direction of something new. Because it's not just about praying for it, it's also about taking action. Okie dokie? Sound good? All right, let's take a nice deep breath in. Let it out. All right, I invite our practitioners to please stand and surround the sanctuary. We're just going to do things differently today. And our core council and our ministers, please stand and surround the sanctuary. And let's go ahead and come together in consciousness, recognizing here and now that there is just this one life, this one power, this one presence, this one infinite eternal that is all in, all through, all as all, that is all-encompassing. It is omniscient. It is omnipresent. It is omnipotent. It is the totality of life and love itself. And it is forever expressing itself through itself in freedom, in joy, in bliss, in possibility, in harmony, forever expressing itself. And so I know it expresses itself in, through, and as me, and in, through, and as everyone gathered here this day. That right where we are, Spirit is expressing itself freely, beautifully, and it has given us free choice. It has given us free will to allow us to discover it, to allow us to discover the truth of our being, the who of who we are, the what of what we are. And that is freedom itself. That is love, that is joy, that is beauty, that is harmony, that is abundance. And so I speak my word here now for this community, that we come together and we make good choices, not only for ourselves, but for each other and for our community. That we pause for a moment, we take a breath when we are presented with something, and we listen for the deeper answer. We listen for the deeper solution. We listen for the yes that is moving us forward, and we choose consciously what it is that we wish to create in this world and in our lives. And so I give thanks for this, knowing that this is the way we operate, knowing that each one awakens to their own magnificence, their own divinity, their own power, their own presence, their own consciousness. And we move forward together, and together we rise in consciousness. We lift each other up. And so I release this word now into law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is complete. I let it be, and so it is.